slight lead over the rest. In as far as the kind of structures and organizations we are seeing, there appears to be a lot of momentum around UDA, his party, and what the party is going to do next. Is it going to form a coalition with the ODM? A lot of talk around President William Ruto. Do you agree that, in as far as momentum is concerned, he could be 1 or 2 steps ahead?
No, I think this is all contrived. I mean, like, it's what he wants to push out there. But 3 things come from seeing him during that meeting. 1, he's not draped, he's not dressed in the regalia, the yellow, or lime green, whatever it is, that is a UDA color. He came dressed in a cream suit, kaunda suit, you know, sort of showing, I mean, like, I'm lord over you. I mean, I'm not equal. I'm not there with you. Mm-hmm. So in terms of symbolism, you can see he himself, he has elevated himself. I'm not at your level. I'm far above. He's cream, you know, kaunda suit. And everybody of you down there, you're wearing your cap. And that's the uniting only, you know, symbolic thing that he had. The attire, everything else was, you know, his own choice. He was not there. Telling you, I'm lording it over you.
Very interesting observation there. Are you saying that the William Ruto we're going to see campaigning for re-election and the William Ruto we saw campaigning for presidency as deputy president on the campaign trail will be totally different?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I was coming to the second point. Like, he's there. You could actually tell from his own voice, probably the slight tremble you need, and the silent admission, implicit, if I may, where he says that, you know, the coming election, it's going to be tough. It's going to be something else. Look, in terms of money, we spent 120 million. So he said, you know, for the nominations, the last occasion. But this time, I have a war chest. You know, sort of like he's saying, he's admitting that, look, the ground has shifted. And for me, it is so slippery that I have to do something to get a grip on it. And for him, he is desperate. He's trying to marshal all the amount of support that he can. And so he called his UDA people there. Honorable Gakuya and then who have fallen out visibly, and that's I should emphasize that, visibly with him, of course, did not show up. And there are those who are very wimpish, and you could see some lifting the two finger, you know, boldly. Honorable Kihika, for instance, when the neighbor person, I mean, the lady who was there, you know, lifting up the 2 finger, she didn't even lift, you know, and the other person that you ain't lifting, you're lifting the finger, she didn't lift the 2 fingers salute. I mean, you know, so you can see there is that, split of UDA supporters who silently know that the ground has shifted so, you know, in tectonic terms, it's huge, and they cannot guarantee their re-election. The third issue that came from that was the subdued, I don't want to say castrated, but sort of, you know, yeah, he's laughing.
You said it.
Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, he was there, you know, thoroughly emasculated. Let me use that word. I mean, it's preferable. He has given away his ANC. The court tells him that, look, you didn't do what the law permits. You didn't do what your own constitution permits. And then the president himself, you know, he's so agitated about it. In that UDA meeting, he says, you can't come, I mean, these are public assets, and you cannot come and acquire them, ANC, through a court order, over my dead body. You know, indirectly, that's what he was saying. But there is Musalia, and Musalia is bringing out 2 aspects. And he's saying that, look, we must release the president to go and serve the New World Order system for uniting Africa, for Region 8, for the 1973 Club of Rome map, so that we can divide these as Trump goes to Greenland in order to get his Region 3. Then he was saying that, and he's going to be meeting all these leaders of the African Union, the East African Community, and so SADC, so that, you know, they can gang up with that. So he's trying to say, look, you people, we have a huge task. Ruto's role, assigned by the colonialists on him, the colonial puppet that he is, will need more time that you can afford him if you go on fight. That was Musalia's voice. And the second beat is that he was telling his own UDA brigade, now he's an agitator for UDA, although he was ANC, and I do not know what his tribesmen would say about him selling off himself to the colonial puppet called Ruto. Now, he says, the figures that we have, you people ought to up your game. We have members of National Assembly in a figure ranging upwards of 3,000. contestants. You know, that's a huge figure. You people ought to think about the competition. So, what are we going to see out of this? Honorable Mungatana, when they are given the podium to ask questions, she says, hey, I must remind you about the prodigal son. I mean, you're dishing out all the best hits to these newcomers who never actually did anything for us when we were incepting this bandwagon. And so now you have sidelined us. He's doing, oh, no. How about the presidency? How about the... So there you go again. The ego in Ruto just pushed and exploded. And he did not address that issue, which was, in my view, a silent voicing.
Yes. And that's
a diplomatic voicing by Mungatana that, look, hey, the perception that you've cast out there is that, look, you're prepared to work with they who come.
And you give them a bit too much.
And you give them a bit too much, and not we, and down on the ground. Yes. That perception is making us lose.
It is a fight for survival, not just for the president, but for everyone who was at State House yesterday. Everyone is seeking re-election, their own political survival. And that concern was raised, as he rightly put it, by Senator Mungatana. Do you share that concern that even with the plans to form a coalition with UDA, with ODM, that yes, there are people within UDA who are feeling we might come out losers in this?
You know, Fred, you said I was laughing when I was, when my friend Wakili was speaking. No, I was not laughing. I was